Hello and welcome to another Mental Night stream. I just realised my chair's a bit far away from the microphone. That's better. Okay. So yeah, last week there were some technical issues that made it a little bit difficult to stream. I think I've resolved them. So I'm going to be working on the final part of this sequence of videos where I've been working from this scene from beginning to end. So this is the end part. I've taken it into NVidia Omniverse. I didn't stream that part because no one really wants to watch a progress bar for half an hour. I didn't. I think I went and did something else. I can't remember now. Dart, hello. Cosmic Dean, how life keeping good work? Loving the series so far. Well, I'm really glad to hear that. And doing pretty good. So, and welcome to the stream. So, as you can see, this is very dark at the moment. We will cover that very quickly. So the goal is, now it's in, I've taken the scene from iClone and put it into NVidia Omniverse for rendering. But before I can render it, there's some things that need to be adjusted, and obviously the lighting is going to be the first one. There's some other things I want to put in, some trees. There are trees in the background, they're just flat images. And iClone's trees do not transfer to Omniverse. But luckily Omniverse has its own trees and they look really good. So we're going to put a few of those in just behind the characters, yeah, to make it look a bit better. And I think we'll put some grass down as well, because that's a nice little detail to add. Because at the moment it's just a flat texture that's green, and there's only so much you can do with that. So I think we'll get started. Oh, hang on. So when will the next chapter be out? Can you give an estimate? As always, the answer is when it's finished. I don't have everything needed to finish it yet, so I cannot give a date on it. There's never has been a schedule or anything like that, because everyone's doing it for fun, and you know that we have to work around other life commitments. So it's just when it's finished. Krogan, hello and welcome. So we're going to get started, and first thing I need to do. Ashton, morning. It's 9:04 here. So where are you living then? Not a problem. I'm happy to answer that question. I know you're quite keen on the knowing when the next chapter is going to be released, so that's the best answer I can give, I'm afraid. Obviously, when things were locked down and no one was going anywhere, it was a lot easier to get things done faster. I'm from Australia. Well, welcome. I'm in the UK, so opposite side of the planet. It's just gone midnight here. Alright, so the first thing I do is, the sky is a sphere around the environment, very similar to any video game, and it casts, so the main lights are outside the sphere, and so it's creating a huge shadow over the entire environment. So there's a little button here, a little checkbox, cast shadows. I'm going to turn that off, and now you can see. FK, hello, welcome. I see you have a new video released. I'm going to watch after the stream. I'm very excited to see what you've done. A new Star Wars video. It's a really international audience here this evening. I'm just glad to see it. Kokomo. I'm guessing that's Japan? Hello. Glad to see so many people here tonight. I know this last week I had some technical issues with this, which they cropped up just as I was getting things ready for the stream later in the evening, and I couldn't figure it out in time. Are you planning to take this all the way to the end of the last book? I would like to. I know at some point soon I'm going to have to start reading Dark Force Rising. I mean, when I first did the first chapter, I never thought I would even be considering that. Here we are. Ashton, thank you for stopping by, even though it was brief. You can catch up with the stream when it's finished. It will be here on the channel. Once it's finished, it goes straight on there automatically. Good luck with your classes. San Mateo, USA, California, checking in. Hello and welcome. That's an epic undertaking. Yeah, I looked to see how many chapters are in the other two books. They're actually, I forget the exact count, but they're actually have less chapters. I need to figure out a process of speeding up development of the series. So I've got some ideas on that, but for Heirs of the Empire, because I've been doing it this way, I might as well finish it this way. And I've got 7 chapters left to animate. Would you work for Kathleen Kennedy or Favreau? If they gave me something good to do and paid me, and let me continue doing this, Carrie, long time fan from New Jersey, thank you for sharing your talent and storytelling a beloved book. Well, thank you for watching. And that's a very appropriate name you've got there for Star Wars. Alright, so I've turned the lights, I've turned the shadows off on the Spaceball background. I call it Spaceball because that's originally what I was using that for just a big ball for space scenes. And the name just stuck, even though this is actually just a regular sky. I know there are skies in Omniverse, but I had something very specific I wanted for this scene, which is what you can see in the background there. Okay, so we're going to adjust the lighting. I'm going to turn the dome light off, and I'm going to turn those lights off, which is making it dark again. There's a reason for this, because those are the lights that brought in from iClone. But if I set up an Omniverse light, somehow it looks better. I'm sure there's some very technical reasons why that is. I would not be able to explain them, other than obviously the lighting in Omniverse is designed very specifically for Omniverse, and when you set the lighting in iClone, it works well for that, and when it translates over to Omniverse, it does its best to work, but it doesn't always get things quite right, and that's fine. There's a big difference between the ray tracing lighting in this and the other lighting in iClone. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing this light closer to card. Not because it makes a difference to the actual light, but it just makes it a little bit easier to manipulate. Because you can see where it's pointing. Karen, well, thank you. I know you said thank you there with that sticker, but I just need to say thank you for your support. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Right, so this is an evening scene. The sun has gone down. Hasn't gone down that much. So obviously the light needs to be a bit low. And it's very bright, which it needs to be very orange, a bit darker. Actually, I wonder if so. We're going to have an orange light, and then I'm going to duplicate it because it's easier than having to copy it again. And we're going to have a blue light because that works nicely for nighttime scenes. Let's have the blue. Oh, let's turn that. Renee, welcome. A good live stream. It's good to see you here. It's been a while. Hope you're well. So I'm going to turn the orange back on. I think I'm going to have the orange shining straight down and make it less bright. So you get an orange tint, that's still a bit much. Actually, there is another way, which is the main reason I did the spaceball trick in the first place. Let's get up the texture for it. Is to have the actual sky light the scene. Yeah, that's what I want. I know you can't see his face. We're going to put the blue light back on. Make it a bit dimmer. More. Too much. Let's bring the blue that way. Think that works? I'll turn the bloom on. It's quite a high setting, so we're going to tone it down. But I feel like it adds a little something, and I think it adds a little bit too much. Well, it doesn't add too much, but it's the lights now very bright. So let's tone that down. There we go. I need to find animation timeline, so we can scrub ahead and see where things are. And maybe that's a little bit too dark. We can fix that. I kind of liking the tone, but yeah, it's still not quite. It's still so dark you can't really see the faces, and that's no good. There's a very fine line between getting the atmosphere right and not being able to see anything. now I can see their faces. I feel like maybe the sky is a little bit too bright. There's a lot of trial and error in this kind of thing. Captain Rex, hello there. Wouldn't the colour temperature work better for a scene like this with orange and blue? I know you can. There are ways to do things like that. I actually find those kind of filters look a little bit artificial, so I'm trying it with trying to make the light, because this is ray traced, so the light is working the way it really would if this was a real live action scene. But you got to get the lighting right. Let's turn down. Yeah, now that's good. Just up a little bit. A bit more. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, what I mean by artificial is, I know this is all artificial because it's computer generated. But when you see something and they've obviously filmed it in daylight and then they just put a blue filter over it, it looks like they put a blue filter over it, and I'm trying to avoid doing that. Yeah. Okay. So we've got some lights on the base behind. We are going to make those very bright. Yep, that one. And get the right setting for this one. That's pretty, thank you. I'm going to quickly save my progress. Liking the way this is looking so far. Okay, so switch out of the fixed camera, go to the perspective. Gotta find where. Find where the characters are. I think they're. Oh. Here we go, this is where they were. Over there. So as you can see, I deleted a lot of the base. I used the same base set and then deleted everything you're not going to see because it's very demanding on the system, and you don't need it to be when you can't actually see any of it. So I'm going to put some extra little lights. Rectangular light. Now what I want to do here is, even though I set these wall lights to be quite bright, and they are producing some light on the environment, what I want to do is enhance that with an actual light source, so it lights up the ground here. So let's put that roughly there. Getting the position right is important. There we go. Turn it off and see what happens. Yeah, see, it lights up that bit of the ground around the light, and it's the square light is kind of facing down a little bit as well, so that's good. I'm going to duplicate that, bring it over to here. Someone's quite keen on force lightning, I see. Yep, that's good. I believe we have one more way off over there. So I duplicate it again. Wrong direction. Send that over there. There we go. Let's see how it looks in the actual camera. Not the biggest amount of difference, but it's noticeable, and I like adding extra details. And speaking of extra details, I think it's time for some trees, because these ones you see here in the background, I don't know why I'm pointing to the screen, you can't see what I'm doing. The ones here in the background, they're behind the characters, they're just flat images, and that's good for way off over there, but we need some actual trees closer because we don't want them to. Yeah. It's pretty obvious they're flat. Oh. And I see a problem I do have is... Ah, there we go. Is that it? No. Okay, so one of the things I did was switch to an older version of NVidia Omniverse, and obviously the assets are not available. So I might have to add the trees in later, because the issue I was having with the latest version of Omniverse, and switching to this older one seemed to fix it for the other scenes I was working on. So I may need to switch back and try and figure that out. I own a blender. I meant the way to set the light. Instead of using the RGB picker, try the option with the temp setting. Can make it easier to find a good hue for the lights. Let's have a look. The blue. Yeah, I don't have that as an option. I've only got the RGB thingy. I can manually enter hue colouring, but that doesn't really help. But I do appreciate the thought. Maybe in a future version of Yeah, there's these. I can enter the numbers here. Oh, enable color temperature. I see. It still gives me the same option. Did that make a difference turning it on and off? Yeah, I'm not sure it's making any difference to turn that on and off. Let me try this orange light. So turn the orange light on. Color temperature. Yeah, I'm not really sure it's making a difference. So I'm going to turn that off. Maybe when I switch it back to the old, to the newer version of Omniverse, that'll have a bigger impact. Oh, I see. If you change the... Right, so... got the blue light. Right, let's try that just to... Okay, so that is making a difference. I'm learning new features here. Right, so if I put the orange light back on, I wonder what that's going to do if I start changing... I had no idea this was an option. Right, let's change it to 8,000. No, 10,000. Gary, well, thank you for stopping by. Again, thank you for the support with that little sticker. When the stream's finished, it will be saved to the channel so you can catch up with it later. And I hope you have a good day as well. Thank you. I saw this in a Blender tutorial a while back. Didn't know if it works the same here. Apparently it does. Neat. I had no idea this was even a thing, so you're helping me with this, which is what I like about these streams, is getting input from you guys in the chat, which can just be change that, or in this case is you teaching me something new about the software. Right, let's have a flick through the scene to see. That is making quite a big difference. Alright, so I'm going to quickly save and then reopen the project, because after a while this really slows down, and the way to counter it is to just reopen. So I'm just going to do that briefly, and then we can carry on fiddling with the lighting settings. So where are we looking? About there will do. As you can see, it processed that much quicker. So do we need the orange light? Yes, we do need that. Obviously, I'm only going to need to watch a tutorial about color temperature lighting to get a better idea of how this all works. But I'm liking this. So what happens if I go higher than 10,000? If I go to 25? 55. Okay, that's not making a huge difference anymore. Let's go back to 15. If I turn the blue light off. What if I change the colour of this orange light to blue? And then I change the orange light, the blue light to orange. Nothing, because I haven't turned it on. Let's enable that light. Okay, that's too much. No. So I'm just undoing what I've been playing around with. I'm doing it wrong. Right, let's go back to here. Right, so we want to enable that. We want it to be orange, but no. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this light again. I think what I need to do is have it white, don't I? And that's what... Would that make a difference with the temperature? So let's go... Okay, so 0 is red. What about minus... Does it take minus values? Doesn't seem to make a difference. Do links work? Found the official documentation. Sometimes the links work, sometimes they don't. So try it and find out. I don't know how... YouTube's weird, really weird. I'm assuming it's not working. So I'll have to read it. I'll have to do some reading after the stream. I don't know why I changed the camera. I don't need it. What it needs to do is... This is really interesting. I'm sure I could play around with these numbers all evening just to see what happens. So the other thing I need to check while I'm thinking about it is if where is it? The texture for the sky has a temperature setting as well. So let's have a look. I guess not. Color temperature in degrees Kelvin, representing the white points. Lower values are warmer, higher values are cooler. We'll just post the same info from the link. Okay. Scales the power of the light in linearly. Interesting. Ever try to use a real sky background? That's exactly what this is. 360-degree photo of a sunset. A friend and I were having this contest where we were sending sunset pictures to each other. So I went to a nearby field and took some regular photos, and I thought, this looks really good. So I did a 360 photo while I was there, because I thought, if I need a good sunset sky for a video, I've got it handy, and of course that's what I'm using here. If you look back at the couple of chapters that I just released, they're all 360 photos for the sky, all of the Merca stuff. And if you go back to chapter 20, I think it's when Han and Lando go to they land on the planet and have the card game. Again, you see the Falcon coming into land, and there's a town by the water. That's another 360 photo I took when I went on holiday last year, almost a year ago. First time seeing my family since COVID, and I think I annoyed them quite a bit by saying I need to stand here for about an hour taking photos of the sunset progressing, because I want to use it in different videos. Is it HDR? Oh, just 360. The phone I had at the time, I don't think it did HDRI 360 photos. But it had the environment that I wanted, and so I basically had to create a big ball around the set, which is what I've done here. Put the texture on the inside of it, which is why it needs to be a 360 photo, because that just fits perfectly. I mean, I can use, I can put a square background, but that's only going to light things from that direction, because this is ray traced. You need to light everything. When I was playing around with the settings earlier on, and I did a scene with 3PO, the background was all there, but I hadn't bothered putting anything behind the camera, because why would I? And you could see a big grey square reflecting off 3PO's head, because he's shiny, and so the real lighting was reflecting what was behind the camera, which was nothing. So that's when I started thinking it has to be 360 photos. I mean, I don't necessarily need to put the buildings behind the characters, but there still needs to be at least something there. I also have this dome light. I wonder what this is. If I enable this. So lower temperatures are warmer. Lower numbers are warmer. So 0 is as low as it gets. That makes it very red in a way that it doesn't need to be. 10,000. That's very cold. Right. Let's see. I might need to save and reopen again. George Lucas used sunset footage off the coast of California for scenes of Cloud City. I'm not surprised. Those sunset images are so good. So 100 is still quite a warm number. $1,000 is still Google Kelvin color chart. Okay, so bear with me a second while I look this up. Because I can't see the chat while I'm doing this. Kelvin color chart. Ah, okay. So let's try 3,000. Should be a yellowish color. Okay, this makes sense. 5,000. No, not 35,000. $5,000 is light blue. So what about 22,500? That might work. Let me get the chat back. Ashley, hello and welcome. We are playing around with lighting temperatures settings. Right, I'm going to turn the dome light off because I think that's a bit too much. But let's get this back. And we're going to try 2,500 again. Now I think part of the problem is this. The ground is very bright. So I'm going to cheat and make it very dark. Because it's kind of throwing off the rest of it. Right, so let's get a close-up of the characters. Very nice. Now we need to figure out the... Let's get rid of the texture list. And that list. This is the blue light. We need to adjust that. Color temperature. Well, that's... It doesn't... So the blue is coming from that direction. Okay, let's turn the orange light off and put the dome light on, because the dome light should be the sky. Guess the colour needs to be white in the RGB thingy. We'll try that next. I mean, for the dome light it is, but it's also a little bit brighter than it needs to be. Okay. So I'm going to save it. I think we're getting there. Right, let's see what having the light as white does. I think it needs the blue tint for the colour, because I want it to be more closer to nighttime than this. But I wonder if changing the intensity down a bit will have an impact. Yeah, it did have an impact, but not the right one. Yeah, I'm going to put the blue tint back in of the light. I feel like it almost needs to be the other way round. So where you see the orange light on their skin, that needs to be blue. No. What got you into Star Wars? My parents taped A New Hope when it was on TV and introduced me to it when I was about 4 years old. I don't actually remember the first time I watched it, because I watched that tape so many times. So I guess you could just say Star Wars has always been present in my life. How did you get into Star Wars? I feel like this is very close to what it used to be, but it's not quite there yet. Let's get the spaceball light back up. So the kind of colour I want it to be is when the sun's gone down, the sky is still very red, but it's getting dark quickly. Which is why I'm going more for that emphasis on the blue rather than the orange, but you still need a trace of orange. Movies and toys from the 70s and 80s. I had over 100 figures, 30 vehicles, 100 train cars just to start. That's quite the collection you sounds like you had. Okay, I think I've figured out what I want to do. So where's the... Yeah. Let's bring it here so I can see the... So the sunset looks... The sun's kind of over that way from looking at the background. So if we have the orange light coming from that direction... Sold my collection in '95. It helped me buy my first car. I don't know if I could do that. I understand the car would be an important thing. Okay, this looks good. I think I have to sleep now. Good luck with the lights. Great work so far. Excited to see the next chapters. Good night. Captain Rex, thank you so much for your help with the lighting. You gave me a lot to have to read up on, and I do appreciate your help with this scene and figuring it out. I think this is going to be fairly close to what we settle on. Obviously their face is a little bit too dark here, so I'm going to adjust it a little bit more. But thank you so much, and have a good night. Sleep well. So I'm going to put the light, and just moving the light in between the characters. Bring it up a little bit. That'll do. So when I'm here, I can see it. Let's bring it there, just so I can see what I'm doing. General Kenobi, you're a bold one. Is that working? Or do I need to turn it this way? No, I need to turn it this way. Nope. Nope. Lighting is such a finicky thing to deal with. I think almost got it. Well, that looks very moody, but you can't see their faces much. Good to see that. How goes the work chapter 4? How many parts do you need to complete before you release chapter 24 and 4? I'm still waiting for 3 characters to have their voices sent in. This is what I'm working on right now. Is a scene from chapter 24. It's almost ready to be rendered. was just trying to get the lighting right, and it was so close. I think actually I might just let's have a look. Skip through the scene. So one thing I'm going to do is these lights on the wall. I'm going to make them much brighter. Which made no difference. Probably because they're pointing in the wrong direction. Let's get the rectangle light here. Bring the camera around. Bring the camera around. This is showing the sign it might need to do another reload. Yeah, okay. So let me save this, quickly reload it. How many do you need to there's a few scenes that need to be done before I can release chapter 24, but I don't have all the recordings yet, so when they come in I can probably finish it quite quickly. I don't like to give estimates though, because it can, something crops up, makes it wrong. That's never good. Right, so I've put a light behind card. Does that light him up? It does not. Okay, so we're going to try a different light. Let's go for a sphere light. I like those. Let's zoom in a little closer. Put it up in the air a little bit. Move it a little bit closer to there. Let's have a look in the camera. There we go. Yeah. Because it looks like one of the lights on the wall is now lighting them up from the back, which is... Is that too much? It's a little bit too bright. There we go. Just gives them a little bit so they're not completely black on the back where it's just so dark, there's no light there. Okay. Let's see which we got. That's the blue light. That's the orange light. turn down the reds to be a bit more orange so it matches the sky better, because I was feeling it's a little bit too red. But yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. So one of the things I need to do is adjust the hair texture a little bit. I'm not quite sure why this works this way, but I changed the colour weights down to 0 on their hair. We do it to card as well. Well, that's just Abe's hair, I think. Actually, I don't think Card's hair needs to change because it looks right good in this particular lighting. But Abe's hair was looking a little off. Okay. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so what I need to do for the rest of the scene, well, actually, first thing I need to do is the all-important save it, now that I'm happy with it. I need to import this, load this up in a newer version of Omniverse, put the grass and trees in, which it's not that exciting to watch, so you're not going to miss much by me not streaming it. And then it's ready to render, which if I add the trees and the grass in, I can leave it rendering overnight. So yeah, that's going to be it for this scene, I think, barring anything I see once it's rendered. I think this is done. So thank you all for coming. I need to give a shout out to Carrie again for the sticker and the little bit of support there, and also to Captain Rex for helping me figure out some new lighting options in Omniverse. But I think I'm going to wrap up the stream there. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. So thank you all for coming. May the Thrawn be with you, and I will see you all next time. Have a good night. Or day, for those of you tuning in from Australia.